watching at home. You're with Adelaide Eternal, bringing you the final round, round 6 of the Adelaide Eternal Highlander Challenge. I am Sarven McLinton, and I'm in the booth here with Beckett Wolfe.
G'day, guys.
So we've got the last round here is John Nelson, who's on the right on his mono red splash blue one chin red style burn deck, and then I'm on the left and I'm on Annihilator 6.
And Sarv is one of our Hall of Heroes. He is the front and foremost Eternal player from Adelaide Eternal, and he's here in the final round. He's on a very good record at 4-1, and you can see him there. He's got multiple Highlander wins, which will put him in good stead for this upcoming match. And on the right, we've got
multiple other wins.
He's got multiple other wins, but he's
Highlander's not my specialty.
Well, he's still got multiple Highlander
I definitely
wins.
love brewing in it. I definitely hope to.
Your vintage doesn't mean anything here, Sarv. This is Highlander,
leave your vintage
mate.
at home. Leave your legacy experience.
Leave your
at
legacy experience at the door, mate.
Get in
This
on the
is
Highlander train.
So on the right,
We're not going to brew.
on the right, we've got John Nelson on Wench and Burn, obviously, and
If you want to check those lists out, they're actually featured. John is featured in round 4, I believe, and that's against you.
I think it's 3. Some of them.
Yeah, one of those. That's against you. And then I'm featured in round 5, and that's against another Grixis Control matchup. So if you want to see those deck lists in detail, but basically here is John Nelson's deck list on the screen, and as you can see, all about aggressive burning the face, and some recursive threats that burn you over the course of the game, and then the blue to fill up on the cards. And then my deck is a blue-red control shell, but other than that, it's pretty dramatically different from Blue Moon because it's about turbo, so trying to get those moons and hate pieces out on turn 1 or 2, like a Dragon Stompy deck, and then the alternate win con being Emrakul, Offer Through the Breach, which was Cunning Wished for with a Wish package in the sideboard, or Sneak Attacked, and then card selection and card filtering and looting to get rid of the wrong half of your deck.
So we had an interesting sort of top 4. We'll go down to the game. We had an interesting sort of top 4, clear, distinct top 4, where I think you guys were on 4-1, and I was on 5-0, and Tomo was on Neiman Burn, also 4-1.
Tomo's performance was really good. Neiman Burn was consistently burning people's faces and smashing with little 2-1s and 2-2s.
It's sort of interesting to see 2 ACOL decks in the top 4, and also 2 aggro and 2 control. So we had this match, which is aggro and control, and I was playing against Tomo across the other side of the table, control versus aggro as well.
So it was 2 control versus aggro matches here deciding who wins with some complex maths.
And I think even though I was 5-0, if I lose, I'm 5-1.
Yeah,
and just like the winner of this is 5-1,
yeah.
And I think the winner of this would have had a better countback than me. Yeah,
and then if I lose and you win, you might go to first. So it was very complicated maths. That's what happens with 6 rounds of Swiss. So this is kind of a decision for first or second place as well.
That's not a great hand. It's lands and spells, but I think it's probably a keep.
5 land, 2 spells.
It's not great. Do you know what you're against?
I can't remember now, actually.
It's not great, but I think it's a keep.
Yeah.
Especially on the play.
I think that's right, yeah. I don't know what I'm against, that's why I keep it, I think that's what it was. I was like, okay, I don't know what you're playing.
Because maybe
even though
it's
it's 6
great.
rounds, we haven't had much time because we've been doing a lot of admin or trading or other stuff in the breaks where we probably should be scouting. so I'm like, I don't know what you're on, so I'll just keep this, and I'll probably regret it because 2 spells against and only 1 interactive spell against something that also wants to run.
You're thinking it could be control here when you see the ball.
Yeah, that's right. I'm like, yes, it paid off. You fetch your non-basic and I'll play a Magus of the Moon early. And no, it's probably not going to be good for me there.
I think it's a really good effort from everybody in this top 4. Very tight. I mean, it's 30 players. There's a lot of players to make top 4 is pretty good. Fire Ice, a very good draw there.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. So it's between you and I on 2 control decks, and Tomo
the
and
outsiders.
John. Yeah,
they were both from Broken Hill. Those Broken Hill guys took a really good game.
Yeah,
there's ACOL coming down.
They read that meta really well. So here comes Ancestral Recall, end of my turn to draw 3.
It's a good one. Is there something to be said for doing it main phase? Because if you do it main phase, you definitely have to discard. And he's done it end of your turn.
I think you do it on upkeep.
I was just about to say, I think that's the time. So there are a lot of 1-mana spells, although game 1 there's a lot less.
Yeah. And as you can see, he gets max punished because I've got miscalculation for it.
So I think definitely upkeep there would have given it a lot more chance to resolve for sure. And then you don't get burnt by that, having to discard the cards you just drew. But anyway,
he becomes Curse of the Pierced. I was like, I have to read this. Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. Curse of the Pierced Heart.
I mean, it doesn't look very good, but he's also 4/1. So you think,
yeah, I know, right? And I'm like, oh no, you're not a control deck, and so I'm like instantly regretting my keep here as I start to get burned 1 damage a turn, and I actually have no way to deal with a resolve.
That would have been Magus of the Moon normally.
Yeah.
Thinking, well, now I'm going to get him off his next fetch lane to fetch basic blue. But in reality, it's not going to do much. So, Curse of the Pierced Heart, I think it's probably only good exactly on turn 2.
Exactly on turn 2, that's right.
But we'll see how much damage it does.
Specifically in John Nelson's deck.
Yeah, we'll see how much damage it does. But, that's the point. I think there's a few weird cards. Like, I think Keldon Marauders. I don't know if you've ever heard of that card.
Yeah,
that card's really good. But
3/3 that pings them 1 and pings them 1 again on the way in, way out.
Yeah, it's a 2 for 3/3 with Vanishing, and it pings when it enters and leaves. So it actually gets a lot of damage done. If you've ever played against it, it's actually does a huge amount of damage in a list like this. But I hadn't seen it before I played against Wanchin Burn.
And that's that standard card, isn't it? The Desert that deals 2 damage. I forgot what it's called, but yeah, it's a
mountain now.
It's a mountain. That's good. Yeah, Harsh Mentor. He's a guy, and here's a guy. And guess what? Stromkirk Noble can't be blocked by humans.
Magus of the Moon and human. Fantastic.
Guess what I just drew? Snapcaster Mage. I'm like, what? I can't actually block your guy.
Stromkirk's really good. I think we talked about it in the last match. It didn't do much against in the last match when I played it because I had a bolt for it, but it's actually really decent. Gets out of hand pretty quick.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you miss your...
No, I hit land.
No, your Cursed Pierce Heart trigger.
No, I did take it on 16.
Oh, that's... I'm reading it upside down. I'm looking at it as 91.
Yeah. No, I'm not 16.
You're not on 91?
Not 91.
Okay.
I signed him as block and then I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, sorry, I can't block that guy. I'm like, that line of text is pretty important. For those who can see my hand.
He's from Innistrad and he was played in Standard at the time and he was really, really good.
It turns out he's quite good here.
I think I was playing like werewolves in Standard and I got crushed by this card all the time.
All your humans.
Yeah, all my human werewolves.
Do your werewolves flip and they become human werewolves?
No, they're just so they're human werewolves and then they flip to werewolves. But I was dead before they flipped to that strong perk. So, I mean, I think you probably block Harsh Mentor here, right?
Well, yeah, so I've got a couple of choices. I just have to go, I have to take everything.
Block?
Well, what does Snapcaster Mage do? Snapcaster Mage comes out and...
But block with Magus, right?
Well, I'm hoping that because I don't know his deck is no blue in it, right? So I actually think that Magus of the Moon is doing a lot of work.
Okay, yeah.
So...
Is that Magus of the Wheel?
Yeah, Wheel gets countered by Miscalc Flashback.
Miscalc's done work.
Yeah. So yeah, this is where scouting would have been good because I would have known he'd only got 3-4 blue spells in his deck. But I'm actually actively thinking that look at his board. I'm actually thinking that it's turned off 2 blue, so you can't play any other nasty.
So you're thinking he's on a blue-red tempo.
Yes, that's what I think he's on, and I'm like, oh, this is. At some point, I'm going to have to block with Magus, and this is going to be really punishing when you get to use your blue spells.
In reality, I mean, I don't have the list in front of me, but it's like 80% red spells, right?
Yeah, that's
it's literally just
it's
literally just like Treasure Cruise, ACOL, Snap, and then 1 or 2 other maybe sideboard cards even.
That's it. And as you can see, I attack with Magus of the Moon because of this, because I think that his deck is actually blue, and I'm never going to block with Magus because this is doing work. Funny, right?
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show what scouting can achieve.
Scouting would have been good here.
I mean, another way of looking at it is knowing the format, but I don't think that's the issue here because, you do know the format and there's plenty of blue-red tempo decks out there, like a Storm Chaser Mage.
Yeah, that's what I was
if I saw Storm Chaser Mage, I'd be like, oh yeah, it's just blue-red tempo with Pyromancer and stuff, and plenty of Dazes. I don't think he runs Daze.
No.
So it's not a tempo list.
It is literally
a burn list, yeah.
And that's why if I knew that, I would be blocking with that, snap block with that Magus, so I'd actually be on 14. So, Yep. In that hindsight has 20/20 bias perspective.
He's getting in there with Strommy Kirks again. Still a human, unfortunately.
Yep, still a human.
But Snap effectively blocks Harsh Mental, which is pretty decent here.
Yeah, like trading with that guy is good. And I've got that Fire Ice ready to kill the Stromkirk before he deals damage so I can save some life.
Yeah, very nice. Well, you effectively dispatched his board. He's still got the Curse of the Pierced Heart.
Yeah.
What's the count on that so far? It's done like 3?
Yeah, it's done like 3 damage, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm on 12.
I don't know how much I like the Curse of the Pierced Heart.
Yeah,
I think it's been good here, but only because it's exactly turn 2 against control as well.
Definitely.
Like, it doesn't deal with the board at all, where a Bolt could deal with the board. And
Definitely. This is another example of something that doesn't deal with the board. It's Young Pyromancer for 1 damage instead of 1 elemental.
So it's 2 for 2/1?
Yep. Exactly Young Pyro, but it does 1 damage to you when you cast instants.
Yeah. Look, I don't mind it. I think it's worth trialing. Is he running Direfleet Daredevil?
I don't know.
Because
Direfleet Daredevil is so
yeah, we just saw it crushing.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested to know. It could be, one that he wants to add.
Yeah, I would highly suggest he does because he's not running it.
Yeah. He's got a Wheel of Fortune as well. That's one of his points. I love that. Yeah.
Delicious. So, what do we have here? He's still on mountains. So I'm still thinking that Magic of the Moon is doing a lot of work. It's probably actually, hindering.
Oh, yeah. I'm sitting here being like, block. Could you imagine if you were playing against like Mono Red Band and you weren't blocking?
Yeah, yep. Like if I knew I was playing against Mono Red Burn, I would have blocked earlier. But now I went, okay, I can't. Knowing that you've played some of these burn-ish spells, I can't do.
Yep. And then the Lava Spike is like,
decision. Yep. Yep. Lava Spike. Okay, I understand now. Yep, I am glad I blocked there. So I am on 8, and that Curse of the Pierced Heart is sticking around.
Unfortunately, he's got a bit too many lands than he wants. I reckon that Steam
He's got 1 card in hand. And
kind of
he's on
scared
5,
for you there when he had 2 cards in hand and he still had 3 mana wrap. I was like, oh, he's in a good spot.
Are you not scared of that Curse of the Pierced Heart? Because it's actually going to go to the distance, right?
I mean,
here's the only answer in my deck.
Nice.
Cryptic Command End of Turn Bounce. Like literally the only answer in my deck. I don't think I can answer an enchantment in any other way. I can Cunning Wish for Echoing Truth in my sideboard, so yeah, I've got an answer.
But
Direfleet,
Spell Pierce, funnily enough, not going to do a whole lot. Although
it isn't, but I think you're going to see one of the most delicious plays you have ever seen. This is it.
If you're going to Direfleet something, I'm wondering what I'd want to Direfleet.
So guys, if you saw round 5 from last coverage. Just the round before this one, you probably saw Direfleet Daredevil doing a lot of work. Guess what? It's going to continue to do a lot of work because if you're not already running this card yet, I highly recommend it.
Oh, and you actually cast the Acol here?
Yes.
Do you think that's worth the 1 mana?
I think so. I think my Snapcaster exile your Acol so you can't Snapcaster it. Seems alright.
Pretty good. I'm worried. I play Acol on my list. I'm getting scared now.
Yeah. For those of you who haven't played Direfleet Daredevil, please try it and get back to me.
Is that a Desolate Loot House?
Desolate Loot House. Really, really good in long games. This one, not so much a long game.
Still, I think you're not in a terrible position. He's down to 1 card. I don't know what the Desert does. I assume it does something.
Yeah, it does 2 damage.
You got a lot of cards in hand, though. Yeah. You've only got 1 red source, but you got a decent amount of mana.
Yep, I got Chrome Mox in there and some other things. So he's got Black Vice.
What's that?
This is... You know the rack, which is deals damage when you got no cards or very few cards in the hand. Black Vice deals damage when you've got more cards, so more cards than 4.
Oh well, easy. You should just play all your Lava Spikes, and then you won't have any cards.
I should just unload all my cards.
It's simple.
Yeah, seems good. I'm like, yeah,
Resolves.
okay, resolves. Yep, it's a bad sign, right? Because my hand doesn't actually have many good cards in it, and that's why I had to bounce that curse because it was actually doing work.
You Spell Pierce here at the very least, right?
Yep. Well, you know what do? You just try. You try and hope you get there, right? So he's actually got 2 mana up.
Oh, okay.
Keep that in mind.
So maybe Brainstorm find something.
So Brainstorm, yeah, because here he plays around Spell Pierce without a problem, right? So I just have to, I have to Brainstorm, and also brainstorming here allows me to sequence my cards so that I can try and get cards out of my hand next turn easier. But the brainstorm is not the optimal brainstorm. You just got to do what you got to do, right? So, there's an argument here to using Spell Pierce so that I get one more card out of my hand.
Gain a life. Would you play tap 2 mana, gain a life?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Tap 2 of your opponent's mana, gain 1 life. 1 blue. Feels bad, right?
Yeah, it's not great.
Bad. Yeah, this is like navigating. This is a tightrope walk right now, where I'm just so close. And so what I do instead of getting a card out of my hand, is I'll play a mind game. Remind it. So this is my mind game. And I'm going, look, I'm going to deploy a really big threat next turn. So if you've got a counter spell, then, you can hold that counter spell up for my Keranos or something. It's also got, do it because I'm going to daze it. If you play it now, I will daze it. And it works. All right. So sometimes you just got to bluff. And that was my...
So he's playing around daze there.
Yeah, play around daze.
Yeah, I guess, do you play daze?
I don't. But this is a good example of me confidently indicating that I'm able to represent something that'll make them think maybe I shouldn't play this. And it saved me a life, didn't it?
It did.
Saved me 1 life. So
how much life did you lose to Blackfire?
I lost 1.
So is it 4? So you had 5.
I had
yeah,
5
okay.
cards in hand.
It's kind of funny. I mean, in a sense, Lotus Petal and Chrome Mox are good against Blackfire, but really you don't have much of a game.
Yeah.
Because they're awful otherwise, right?
Yeah.
So they're awful against the rest of his deck, which is very good versus Blackfires.
That's it. So when I brainstormed so that I could... the one of the deep ones was a Lotus Petal, so I put it in my hand so that I'm able to deploy it so I don't take any damage. That's the plan. So I'm on 4 cards exactly.
Yeah. We might see a loot here as well.
Yeah. Well, I believe I put the Chrome Mox in there somewhere so that I can draw and discard it. I think so. It might be next one on top. I'm not sure. So
what does the desert do?
It does 2 damage. I just don't. So here's the Curse of the Pierced Heart. So are you ready for more mind games?
I mean, I'm always ready
mind
for
games,
mind
right?
games. 5?
So 5 mana.
Mystic.
And we go counter it unless you pay 3, and I will draw 2 cards.
Okay.
And he's got 3 mana available.
Okay.
Yeah, right. The master of mind games. Let's see. And it works. Draw 2 cards. So I basically get a free card out of that exchange. And here comes Goblin Guide. And Goblin Guide's terrifying. This guy, it goes, I wish I kept my Direfleet. When Direfleet was there.
Land.
Nice. When Direfleet was there, I'm thinking, look, the only haste thing he probably has is Ash Zealot, which has First Strike as well, and Goblin Guide. So hopefully there's no Goblin Guide, and I'll just attack and I'll start dealing you damage because I've got to win somehow. Turns out the Goblin Guide is on the top, so I get punished.
So 2 damage for 5. You're going to take 1 from Vice?
Yes. Yeah. Unless I do something in my upkeep, which I debate because I'm thinking, look, I can do something to save a life in my upkeep, but I actually don't because I've got another plan. So I just take 2 damage, go to 3. And remember, I've got Spell Pierce in hand, so I'm not afraid of his bolt during my turn. And here's a Sulphur Falls.
To be fair, though, Sarv,
I've been doing a lot of digging, remember?
If you get this sneak attack here, it's not really mind games because you kind of do want him to tap out.
Yes. Yeah.
In a sense. So I
activate sneak attack. Here's Emrakul.
It's a big one.
And I'll attack for 15. Annihilator 6. Notice that he's on 15. This is why I swung with a Direfleet Daredevil last turn.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
He can keep 1 permanent.
Yeah. Because
he will die.
I was anticipating the fact that he would have something to block the Direfleet next turn, so I can't go all in on 17. So I had to attack to deal 2, and then go, okay, I've got, even if you block my Direfleet, it's 15 in the air to lethal you.
Yes, very well played, Sarv. So
that's an example of you know how we were talking about Blue Moon, and one of the things that I didn't like about Blue Moon was it's really consistent, which is great, but you have cards like Jace Vryn's Prodigy and other stuff in there where you go, well, I don't really need to win the control game that much more. I don't really need to win win more consistently, the deck's already consistent. Instead, I want a free win that I can just assemble when I shouldn't be allowed to win. This game, I shouldn't be allowed to win, but turns out Emrakul is a way that you can just win.
Well, we're talking about free wins at the GP. GP Sydney's about to come up, and we're talking about the difference between playing in a long tournament, having to play like a control game where every single game you win, you have to invest a lot of mental effort into, and how fatigue is actually something players don't factor in. They don't factor it in terms of eating well the night before, getting plenty of sleep, drinking water during, having a few snacks. And to be honest, deck choice, having free wins, being able to go like, okay, I just win.
Yeah, I just win because I've got Wasteland in my deck.
Yeah,
Wasteland,
I just win. Just got well, in this case, I just win because I get through the Breach Emrakul, and I know you don't have a counterspell. Done.
Yeah. And it only takes up like 2 cards in your deck.
And don't get me wrong, that took thought, and you're playing around, him having a bolt and stuff, of course, but there's plenty of times you just have the win and you don't need to really put much effort into it. And that actually makes a difference over 6+ rounds.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think for those who haven't heard that term of free wins before, so what you mean is not that, you just kind of, your opponent makes a mistake and, it's like you just had a bye, or the judge DQs your opponent for having some poor quality sleeves, or, something like that. What we mean is you assemble your deck in such a way that you don't have to grind every single game. 1 in 10 games, you just win because certain cards aligned. So, for example, in Legacy, we'll use Legacy as an example, it's really, really good. Decks with 4 Wasteland have the potential for free wins. Sometimes you just line up a Wasteland and then a second Wasteland, and your opponent didn't actually draw more than 2 lands, and you just ruffle stomp them. You don't need to think about that game. They're already on they're already on no land, so they're the definition of a back foot, and you just swing with your dudes and you just win. Another definition of free wins in Legacy is Delver. If you have 4 Delver Secrets in your deck, it's dramatically different from the deck that is exactly the same 56 cards with no Delver Secrets, and instead, for some kind of counterspell, Search for Azcanta or something, whatever it is. So what happens there is you get free wins by sometimes you play Delver on turn 1, you flip the top card of your library the next turn, and it is a instant or sorcery, and your opponent just either never lines up the removal spells for it, or you have a Daze and a Wasteland for any type of way that they can interact with you. And that's a free win. So, free wins can come in many ways, shapes, and forms, and in this particular deck, in Annihilator 6, my free win is 1 sneak attack in the main and 1 Emrakul in the main, and that is, the 2 of them together are a win. But sometimes you have you sneak attack in a Torrential Gearhulk to attack the Jason Mind Sculptor, which kills it, and in the meantime you also flash back Mystic Confluence, and that was just for one red mana, which they cannot interact with. Normally they'd be able to counter it, but they can't. So in a control matchup, that's a free win there. So there's lots of definitions of what a free win is, and when it comes to decks, I almost always play a deck that has the capability of giving you a free win somehow.
Yeah, it doesn't have to necessarily be a combo, does it? I think the Wasteland was a good example because often it is a combo, and I totally agree. I like to play decks with combos, but yeah, sometimes it could just be something like a Tempo or a Wasteland.
And when you look at the points list, you see cards like Strip Mine that are 2 points, and you go, oh, why is that 2 points? It's not that much better than Wasteland, and so on and so forth. It's all about that critical mass of free wins. And sometimes Strip Mine and Wasteland together or individually can just award you a free win with no fun between you and your opponent. Doesn't matter, you win.
We're going to sideboards pretty quick here. Looks like we're about to get down to game 2 with you guys. Yeah. So did you have much of a sideboard plan for Burn?
Well, John brought in his anti-blue stuff, which is logical, and I basically, whenever I'm in this one, it's the same thing that we were talking about in the last one. Look at round 5 for a bit of a chat about that, about not just ignoring that you have Cunning Wish in your deck and simply bringing in cards that are good in the matchup and taking out cards that are bad. Forget about the Wish. So here I've got a bunch of counter spells and a Lightning Bolt, but it goes away because I believe it was just a single basic island.
I noticed you still had Cryptic there. Is that because you just didn't have enough to side out?
Yeah, so I have critical mass of bad cards, and I'll keep Cryptic in solely because I have to. But at the end of the day, we notice that John is not on a tempo deck, so he doesn't have Spell Pierce Daze, all those kind of things. He does have Pyroblast and Red Elemental Blast. Those would be the 2 interactive pieces we expect. So his hand is Ank of Mishra, and he's got some burn, obviously.
Yeah, so in this list, do you have Hydro and Blue Elemental, or just the one?
So I actually, and this is one thing, I have neither of the 2 in there, and it was a meta call at the... So my hand is 1 land and Snapcaster Mage, Force of Will. So it was pretty mediocre because it's 1 land, so I'm scrying to the
Fire
bottom.
Ice isn't terrible, though.
Yeah, I got to get, in these draw steps, I got to get land, which I do, thankfully. That scry was pretty useful there. So this was a meta call. Normally I have Hydroblast in my sideboard, so I can wish it out, which is awesome. And I don't run Beb in it because you don't need to have 2 of them because you don't actually lose to Blood Moons and so on.
Well, you're a Blood Moon deck yourself.
No, Blood Moon deck, exactly. So it's really only there for the red matchup. And I made a meta call in the morning and I thought, look, Adelaide's not an aggro meta, it's a control meta. I don't need to have Hydro in here solely for that. And I have only seen 1 person on Built from Scrap, so that's okay. I won't run the Hydro. And instead I ran, I think it was Null Rod, or I ran one other card. So... because I was more afraid of someone playing, say, Storm or something, so I brought Nullrod in. But normally that would be my Hydro Plus slot, and I so regret it because I think I faced it off against some aggro decks like twice in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And I went,
it's always the way, isn't it?
I wish. Like, not even I wish, but I cunning wished. I wish that I could find it.
Go, Ank of Mishra, and he did this to me turn 2 of game 2 on the play, and I didn't have an answer for it.
Yeah, well...
And it was game winning versus me.
Ank is amazing, and here I Spell Pierce it, which is, Spell Pierce or Spell Snack. Both of those 2 line up nicely against Ank when you're on the draw, and fetching out basic here is me saying, giving respect to both price of progress and also the possibility that I draw a moon. But you'll note that I took out a lot of my moons. I think I took out everything except... I can't even remember what my last one was. I think I kept Magus of the Moon because it's a blocker, but I took everything else out.
Yeah, that's fair. And you see the power of Spell Pierce Daze. I know you're not running Daze, but Snare and Pierce especially, and their ability. Yes, they're very narrow, but where they're not narrow is, unlike Counterspell Mana Leak, they interact on turn 1.
Yeah, definitely. And now here, I'm actually not afraid. Oh, here's Scald. So Scald is every time someone taps an island or something, you take 1 damage. And I'm like, yeah, well, that can't resolve because I'm going to lose. You'll note here that, remember how I mulled my hand of 7? And the 7 looked okay, but it was just 1 land. I am on a hand of 6, and I don't actually care about the fact that I'm on 6 because the number of cards is not relevant to me. What's relevant is the fact that I'm on the draw against a burn deck. When you're on the draw, you can have cards you just die with them.
Consistent threats
Yeah,
already. And now I guess you just got to hope the rest of your hand is Rift Bolts, Lava Spikes, Bolts, Chains and stuff.
As long as you answer the consistent, resilient threats, then it's okay. So here is Shrine of Burning Rage. In your upkeep, you put a counter on it. Whenever you cast a red spell, you put a counter on it. You can pay 3 and sack it, and it does that much damage to someone.
And I think it's really good in Highlander. The truth is, Highlander burn decks go a little bit longer than, say, Modern or Legacy, and you do get to pay the mana to sack it, and it can get a huge amount of counters. Obviously, the earlier you play it, the better, same as the Pierced Heart, but I think this one's a really good choice. I really like it.
I think that Shrine of the Burning Rage, on average, I've seen it sacrifice between 8 and 10 is about the amount I've seen it sacrifice for. So it's a threat, and when he resolved it, I'm like, yep, okay, I am on a ticking time bomb clock right now.
That's it. I mean, you could just sack it when you get 3 mana for something like 4 damage, or you can just keep it around and say, you have to answer this eventually.
Yeah.
Or like as soon as you go to do your combo win, or as soon as you out-control me, I'm just going to blow this for 12.
One of the best ways to play around Shrine of Burning Rage is to force your opponent to commit or to unwisely tap out, and then do something like Cryptic Bounce it. And then that way, they if you do that to them once, then forevermore, they will never deploy their threats because they want to keep 3 mana up. So it's a bit of a mind game again.
It is a bit of a mind game, but as you said before, you don't have that many options to deal with permanents that aren't creatures on the board. And it's not that practical to be crypticking. And at the end of the day, he's only invested 2 mana.
Yes, yep.
And he's already invested it. He doesn't actually need to keep up the mana here.
No. That
It's
was
not
end
like
of turn.
engineered, because engineered explosives is like very reactive. You need to keep it up to stay alive. But this is proactive, so I think you can just tap out every time.
Yep. Well, that was end of turn fire and ice to
Pretty
kill
good.
the archer, and now I have to shock. So I never feel good about that, right? You wouldn't feel good about shocking, but
well, yeah.
you got to do what you got to do when you got cryptic command in hand.
Yeah. I guess it's the logic. If he's got a threat like that,
Yep, young pyromancer.
you want the cryptic for it.
Yeah.
But you don't cryptic there.
No, I don't cryptic here. So that shrine keeps ticking up, and this is going to give him an elemental token. And I think I said I'll respond to that. I said I'll make this guy, and this guy's going to resolve, and then I'll play this guy, and then I'll fire ice both of them with the lava spike on the stat. Just so that
that's well played.
else.
I think a good efficient use of mana.
Yeah, that's it. And I was saying, look, this thing's going to get exiled, but he might have a response. So he had a response which was burst lightning my Snapcaster Mage
To get the 1/1.
to get the 1/1.
Yeah,
and
well
you do
played.
that. You just do it.
I think it's worth it.
You
The
gotta do
1/1's
it.
probably going to get in a couple of times at least.
Yep.
Which is going to be equivalent to bursting the face anyway.
Yeah, that's it. And
And now he's in a
remembering
decent
triggers
spot.
is
I
important.
don't think he's got any cards in hand.
No,
but
I think he's empty-handed now, and this
He's
is
got
where
a
I'm a bit
1/1
more-
and
yeah, I'm a bit more
respect the
confident.
1/1.
And so here we go,
Very
a braid.
nice.
So I was just waiting for him to try and invest too much in it, and the moment they invest too much in it and they tap out, then you abrade it, because then that way they're doing their math and they're banking on that thing. They're banking on it getting a certain amount of counters, then popping it for the lethal, and so you go, okay, I'll let you be greedy, and then you abrade it.
Yeah, very nice. Although sometimes when you're playing control, when you play against control, it feels like they've always got the answers. And when you play with control, it's like, where's my, where's my
that's
perfect
it.
answer to this?
That's it. So he cracked the desert at the end to do me 2, and that little 1/1's going to go the distance. Look, I'm on 8. So it looks like I've controlled the game, but in reality, there is that 1/1, and it is going.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it reduces
Still
the clock. When he's got like shocks and bolts, every swing is very, very relevant.
Yeah, every little swing there. If you attack 3 times with it, that's a lightning bolt. So essentially, your young pyromancer was a lightning bolt that didn't actually cost you a card.
I mean, do you have cryptic in hand? I'd say there's a logic for going like keep up cryptic, try to counter something he plays like a low level 3 damage spell and bounce it.
Yeah, well, I pondered there and I found land, and that allowed me to keep up 4. But I am, I have the cryptic, and he's not doing anything, which is correct. Because normally they're like, they want to do things and so on. But here, end of turn, I'll cycle miscalc and just keep drawing cards because miscalc does nothing here.
The thing is, because he runs such a low curve, he can actually basically with 4 mana, he can pretty well deploy his entire hand in a single turn. So he's there's a really good way to play burn. A scary way when you're playing control against burn is going, I can keep up cryptic. And he can almost play this weird control game where he's saying lane go, you're saying lane go. And you're thinking, well, I'm winning because I'm the control deck. But in reality, if he's got 5 cards in hand, he can just play 5 1-mana spells. And you can play like a 4-mana counter, a 2-mana counter, out of mana.
Yeah. Yep. Very true. So here I've got that critical decision. End of turn, do I cryptic bounce that token or not? Not sure. I'm just afraid that if I tap out cryptic bounce, he then uses all his burn spells on me. And so here I exile back to basics to Chromox because I just need that 6th mana because I need to be able to actually protect myself in the event that he unloads all of his burn spells.
Well, it's interesting. You said you thought you sorted out the other moon effects and you kept Magus.
Yeah, I think
it sounds like maybe you kept back to basics.
Maybe I can't remember which one. I kept 1. So yes, Spell Snare pretty good against Snapcaster Mage. That was going to be an end of turn bolt of some kind to my face, which would be pretty nasty. And here's Monastery Swift Spear, which is doing work. And here we go.
Ooh.
Mystic Confluence. That's why I wanted to get to 5.
Counter
to
3
mana.
draw bounce. Feels good.
Yeah, so it wasn't a cryptic. It was Mystic Confluence.
Oh, he's got 3 mana. So he has to...
So I have to bounce a creature
pay 3,
and
pay 3.
counter twice.
Yeah.
So I get nothing out of it, which is really, really rough.
it's
but
fine,
you got to do it. And I'm on 6, so 2 burn spells kills me. So it's
he's
very
got
scary.
more cards in hand than you.
Yeah, I know. Very, very scary. He's on 17. He's like nowhere near me at winning. And there's Exquisite Firecraft.
Yeah, uncounterable.
2. And See, I would not lead on Exquisite, just keep it, right? Because it's uncounterable, so it's a nice sneaky way to make them not counter the other things. Then that's the one you can't counter.
You're fine on 4 life because bolts that do 3 damage.
Correct.
And then go the uncounterable.
Yeah. So here's dig through time.
It's a pretty good one.
And obviously, I'm digging for something very specific here, and
I feel like you want the combo because at this stage,
I was going to say, can you tell what I'm digging for?
Yeah, because at this stage,
through the breach,
you're not going to be able to like Dire Fleet or Snap Bolt or anything.
Mountain is his hand. Whoa. Whoa. I was really worried about this being a Pyroblasted because he had 1 mana open and he wasn't playing the mana and playing the cards. So if he's not playing it, it's probably a reactive spell, and I'm like, if that's Pyroblasted, I'm going to get wrecked.
But it's the same logic as what I said before. You can't necessarily keep these cards in hand thinking I'll do them end of turn or I'll do them in response, because the burn spells are cheaper than the blue spells. The whole point of counter spells is like you get to pay 2 mana for a counter spell to counter their 5 mana spell and you get up. But against burn, you're actually spending like 2 mana for this dig through time and the Pyroblast costs 1.
Yep, definitely. So I've obviously got a difficult choice here, and we'll see which 2 I show to the camera. We'll find out in a second. But I know what the... here we go. Let's see. No, I haven't shown them. So whatever it is obviously reactive. Through the breach. That's in my hand. So through the breach, Anger of the Gods, Is It Charm. So all pretty bad cards, but my plan is end of turn, Is It Charm, if I can't counter something. This is a Cryoclasm, destroy target island, 3 damage.
And you're on 2.
And I'm on 2.
So it's a game.
No, you play mind games. So you like start to assemble your mana, as if you're playing around a second spell that you're using, and you go, okay, so if I do this, I'm not motioning to scoop, I'm motioning as if I'm in the game, and then if I just line up an Is It Charm on it, and then see what he does, then we'll see. But I'll do this, and I go, I'm going to draw discard. That's why I draw discard, try and find Mana Leak, and Emrakul. Not Emrakul. Emrakul is the next thing on Mana Leak.
And he hits the leak.
Actually hit the leak. So my last card in hand is Through the Breach.
So here we go, Emrakul off the top. What do you reckon? I think even...
It's my turn.
Yeah.
So I'm going Emrakul. Emrakul, or preordained into Emrakul. These are all things I think is a land. But you engineer a situation to try and find a way to get there, right?
Yeah, he already
mental misstep.
Okay, nice.
Yep. I'm like, it's a relevant card. Okay. I'm like, and that one's a land. Yeah, that one's definitely a land. I can see that. I think it's Flooded Strand. So yeah, Bolt here kills me, right? Some kind of bolt effect kills me, and it is essentially a bolt effect. Hasty Ash Zealot.
Wow.
I'm like,
that was a good game.
I'm like, do you wish to attack? Yes, you got me. So that makes us there. I had land. I think I do go through my deck to see where Emrakul was. I think I had that kind of feeling. How close was I? How close was I to Emrakul? No, I didn't. That's right. I forgot. I don't ever do that. I never want to know. I want to know, was I playing optimally given the game state at the time, not what was actually in my mystical, magical deck of cards.
So does anything change in Game 3?
I think because I'm on the play, I think I bring in 1 slower card. I'm not sure. We'll find out in a second. I did have in there Anger of the Gods because he was actually quite creature-based, wasn't he? But that particular game, he wasn't creature-based. So I'm like, do I keep this or not? Not sure. I think you do because you just kill 1 creature, but 3 mana is a lot.
There's a lot of bad spells in your main board, I think. I'd rather Anger of the Gods over Cryptic Command. To
on the
like
play, I'll keep Cryptic, but yeah, just depends.
Are you keeping stuff for like Curse of the Peace Tart and Ank of Mishra and stuff like that? And the Shrine? You've seen Shrine as well?
I definitely don't.
Malrod?
No.
Huh?
No. I definitely have a Braid and that kind of stuff.
Does he run Curse Totem?
Curse Totem?
I lost
it'd be pretty good if he did.
I'm playing, as these guys play this, I'm playing against the Neiman Burn, and I'm thinking...
And you're on Game 3 as well, right?
We went to Game 3. I lost Game 2 to Curse Scroll.
Wow.
Curse Scroll, not Curse Totem.
Yeah, Curse Scroll's so good.
Yeah, I lost
definitely Curse Scroll. It's good. Yeah, maybe Nullrod is correct. Curse Scroll and Shrine of the Burning Rage preemptively shuts off 2 cards. Would you play Pithing Needle for 2 that shuts off 2 cards? but you can't choose anything else. There's specifically these 2 cards.
It's
pretty
loose.
loose. Yeah. So right
Could be
now,
better than Back to Basics though.
yeah. Back to Basics can get him though sometimes.
He had the desert.
Because he's actively fetching Volk and Scalding Tongue, not Scalding Tongue,
Steam Vents,
Steam
and
Vents.
then he's
got
barbering and stuff.
all those things.
It's mainly mounts though.
Yeah, it's mainly because you don't have enough other cards that are good. I don't have a Hydro Blast, sadly. So this is really cool because we have the 4 of us, you, Tomo, myself, and John, are all in that top 4 tables. We're all on our game 3, and we are all a control versus aggro,
I think
a
we're all
control
pretty
versus burn matchup.
And we're all pretty well playing for the win.
Yeah, and everyone's playing for that first place, so it's everyone's live. So this is pretty sweet. You know, it depends on who exactly wins where to see who comes first and second and the like. But out of 30 players, it was really interesting to see the control and the aggro decks really rise to the top 8. Plus Gruul Moon was in top 8 as well. So it was kind of Gruul Moon, aggro, and control. And then the top 16 was a bit more control, a little bit of mid-range, mostly mid-range. Oh, my hand is unkeepable. Yeah, no land. No, Sulphur Falls is my only land. So yeah, that's a mole. And then under 16 was all the combo decks. All the combo decks were down in like 25th, 23rd, 25th, 27th, 29th, like all the way down the bottom. We had so many interesting combo decks that never got to see the light of day because they just didn't make it through the gauntlet. This pure gauntlet of controlling grindy blue decks and really fast, hyper fast burn decks.
Yeah, and they are hyper fast, aren't they? They're not, I'd say they're faster than Zoo even.
Yeah. So I'm on 2 lands Lotus Petal, and he's on a mixture of creatures, burn, and lands. So I'm scrying to the top, it seems.
Oof, and game 3, you're on the play on this one at least?
I'm on the play, and I scry to the top, and I'm mull to 6, so I feel pretty good. Like, with that kind of a combination of things, I feel like this is going to be a game, as opposed to getting ruffle stomped when you mull, So this is a tapped land into Lotus Petal Pass. And guess what? You play Lotus Petal because they have Black Vice.
True. I guess like one good Black Vice is pretty good.
Yeah. If the Black Vice hits you for 3, it's a thing. It hurts. So this way, I'm immune to Black Vice. I'm on 4 cards. Haha.
It's actually a really good point. Black Vice on the play, and then they go like untap, take 3.
Yeah. And then the next turn they take maybe
play
1.
Creeping Tarbet or something like that.
Yeah, or they take 2 or 1.
Yeah.
It's a lot. So, clearly I have obviously played around Black Vice by actively mulling good hands.
Very nice. Swift speed here.
Yep. Taylor will do work because when it comes out turn 1, it just gets to overload a whole bunch of prowess on turn 2 and 3 before I get to actually stabilize and deal some damage to it or kill it. So I'm on 3 mana sources, one of which is temporary. But, you do what you got to do.
Back to basics.
My hand, I have Through the Breach in my hand. No, Sneak Attack or Through the Breach in my hand. So I'm saving my Lotus Petal to be able to deploy that on turn 2.
Oh, but you do have Back to Basics? Because that'd be interesting. That's an interesting call there.
Yeah.
Go like, do I save for my win? Or do I just like hope he
I
catch?
definitely don't cast Back to Basics here. Losing my Lotus Petal. So that's a shuffle. Yeah. It was a land and a Pyroblast. And I don't think
Pyroblast is amazing.
No, later on in the game, I do regret shuffling away Pyroblast. However, the thing is, Pyroblast does nothing. All it does is hedge against a draw spell. But at the end of the day, it literally does nothing to this board state.
Yeah.
And
you do actually need something.
Yeah, I need something. Otherwise, Swift Speed is going to kill me.
Yeah.
So I draw a random card off Ponder. And I have, obviously... Oh, Active Fetch doesn't matter because it's a shuffle. So... but yeah, I am trying to save that Lotus Petal so that I can deploy Sneak Attack on turn 3 so that I have that win available. But sometimes you just got to make hard decisions, which is an issue. So he gets to go land Ash Zealot. And Ash Zealot haste is really, really powerful. It's a lot of damage. So I take 3 damage here. But, a first striking 2/2 with haste, that damage adds up a lot.
Yeah, for sure. It's also got a cheeky text about shocking your opponent. I think when you cast things from graveyard, which you don't do all that much.
No, it's just Snapcaster Mage.
Yeah, but
but it's
still
a
a great body.
Hasty threat, which is really good. First strike, really, really good against the meta with opposing small Duda decks, which this was today. So I drew for the turn Fire and Ice, and I hadn't cracked that fetch land for 2 turns because I'm actively looking for land because I don't actually have my 4th land.
And do you
But
find? Do you
I
want
found
to?
it.
Oh,
So
you've
I must
hit
have got Fire Ice in last turn.
Kozilek's.
Kozilek's Return. So, as you can see, this is why you don't focus on your wish board. That's one of my wish targets, but you just bring them in. Don't try and be
You're not in a
cute, just
position
bring
where
them
you
in.
can wish there. Because if you wish there, by that time, they've
You're
untapped, they've done another 3-4 damage, and I mean, he might even get a prowess Monastery Spear above it.
Exactly. I've been a really, really big fan of Kozilek's Return. It is the number 1 wish target I have experienced throughout the last couple of months of playing this deck. Cryoclasm is extremely punishing here, because remember how I was trying to build up to that 4th mana? I struggled to find that off the Ponder and the like. And now I'm not actually able to just play land and play Sneak Attack.
Was he
Cryoclasm?
Cryoclasm in the main board?
He's running Cryoclasm in the sideboard as one of these hedges against the control deck.
I think it's really good. I mean, like land destruction is often overrated, but in a burn deck it actually does a fair bit of damage. I think it's relevant. So you're just cycling here to try to hit your 5th
I need
mana?
to hit my land drop. I need to hit the land drop, so I have to cycle and tap a land. You just got to do what you got to do. I do it in his upkeep because I don't want him to be able to deploy a Sulfuric Vortex here.
Mm-hmm.
But he does end up hitting the land, so.
But I guess that's not the end of the world because maybe I wouldn't say he's flooding at 4, but he definitely doesn't want to see any more than that.
No. So, yeah, I think I just had to ice there. As much as I hold open mana to threaten a counterspell on his really, really powerful threat, icing is better than holding open the mana and he calls my bluff. So if I ice, then here I might preemptively stop it, but it ends up actually having a land to cast Sulfuric Vortex. Yeah. So, yep, that's
a threat.
Rough. Yeah. So I go here. Well, if I'm taking 2 every turn, which is not going to be very many turns, then I have to change tack here, and I need to just Well, I didn't find the land off the ice, did I? Which is punishing, but maybe I did. Let's see.
Well, you got it either off the ice or off the top.
That's it.
That's
that's
Chrome
right. It was
Mox.
Chrome Mox,
Okay.
so it wasn't land. So it was actually, sometimes you just get punished with these things. You have to play it, because if you don't have 4 mana up, and you need to use those 4 mana. Otherwise, you're gonna just lose to Sulfuric Vortex if you do nothing. If you just durdle. So I exile Sneak Attack, and so my original plan was to play Sneak Attack, but the problem was if I keep the Sneak Attack, I don't have the mana to play it, and if I don't keep the Sneak Attack, then I have the mana, but I can't play the Sneak Attack because it's not not in my hand anymore. But getting the mana was more important.
So what do you want this mana for?
So I think I've got Fact or Fiction in my hand, and we'll find out soon enough. No, maybe it's not Fact or Fiction. Vendilion Click. Okay. Yeah, that's right. I changed my track. Yeah, my tack. Because he's on 18, and I go, if I click you and take a burn spell, and then I just bash you, then I'll be able to win.
Well, this is tough, because Grim Lavamancer is a consistent threat. It actually deals with click.
Yep.
Treasure Cruise is not going to be terrible here, because he's got the mana and the cards for it. And what's that middle card?
Middle card is Keldon Marauders, I think.
Oh, that was the one I was referring to earlier. Just a decent damage. But I feel like it's between...
What do you think? You predict my... What do you think I would do?
Either I don't know what your last card is, but it's either Grim or Cruise. Cruise is very good here. If I took Grim, I'd feel pretty bad about it, because then you just cruise and find burn spells. But Grim, to be honest, beats your board. So maybe you have to.
Yep. And so my decision is, I am all, now that Sulfuric Vortex has resolved, I'm all in on one plan. And my one plan is I am going to aggro you. Because that's the only way, right? I have to say, you have no threats, and I have the threat. And I just smash face with this Vendilion Click.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a shame, but I think
it's so rough, right?
You have to take the Grim.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, we both predicted it. So this is one of those things where I'm going. It's iffy, but this is one of those things where we indicate to the audience that it's all about role identification. And I go, I am going to lose this game if I don't kill you first. So if it's all about speed, then I have to stop the Grim Lavamancer.
And don't get me wrong, the audience might be sitting here thinking, but Sarv, he's a burn deck. But that's the whole point. That's why Sulfuric Vortex is good, because it does do 2 damage to both players. So, since it's fair, the reason it's good is because the burn deck lines up a lot better, because the burn deck can race better.
Yeah,
so it's designed for that. But I think I totally agree. And that's a great snack there. This game's going to end very soon. It's not going to get through the breach necessarily unless you get very lucky, and you're not going to be able to control
the red elemental blast. So everything lined up really badly for me, because the card that he drew off the click was something that dealt with the click straight away, rather than Grim Lavamancer, which wouldn't deal with the click straight away.
Yeah.
And as you'll see by the rest of my hand, which was Magus of the Moon, I was actually just going to attack for 3 with click, take him to 13.
Yeah.
He goes to 11 in his upkeep, but I've got a Magus of the Moon. It's actually 2 turn clock from me.
Yeah.
So, I was like, man.
It's hard to hope he'll whiff on the cruise, but it's your only option, because the Grim Lavamancer kills click, kills Magus, and then he's winning the race off the Vortex anyway.
That's it. Now he's kept the cruise in hand because he's planning to overload me in 1 turn, rather than do these kind of 1 turn at a time. But I think it was perfectly fair to cruise last turn. But he is doing the kind of the burn thing where he goes, I'm going to do everything in one go.
So we talked about that earlier, didn't we?
Here's my plan, obviously. Direfleet Daredevil comes out, and it's because, my hand was click, Magus, Direfleet Daredevil. And so you could see why my plan was I was just
Can you Cryoclasm there?
No, because I don't have mana to do it. So I can only just Lava Spike him to his face. And as you can see, I present lethal, and my last card is Fact or Fiction, which again I couldn't cast because of that Lotus Petal. So you can see here I go to 1, but I can present the the ability to win here, as you can see by Young Pyromancer is all about chump blocking so that he can just let the Sulfuric Vortex do its work. And so here's Brainstorm, and you're going to see my line of play coming up here, which you're going to be very, very excited about.
Well, you got this is super close, and I think, when you play the click, I was like, all right, that's his line, but it's a stretch. And the click died, and you still actually have presented pretty decent, showing, considering.
Yeah, and imagine if the one thing that was drawn off the click was not the red
Well,
elemental
if you just
blast.
left his hand, I don't think you were correct. I think you made the correct line, but if you just left his hand and he goes, okay, like Grim Lavamancer, next turn cruise.
Yeah. I would have done it if in his graveyard was a lightning bolt to kill the Grim Lavamancer, because I could use the Direfleet to kill the Lavamancer. But I couldn't because it was Lava Spike and not red elemental blast, but it was Lava Spike. So specifically, if Lava Spike was a lightning bolt, I would leave it, and then I would bolt his own guy with his own spell from Direfleet, and I'd be firmly in position. So turns out Lava Spike was a benefit.
So he blocks and trades, and I think that's okay because it's all about the life at this stage.
He goes to 5, and you'll note in my hand. So I brainstormed, and I actually put back, I think, a land and something else. My hand is this. Check this out. He misdirection target you.
Oh,
and he's on 3.
Way.
Misdirection target you. But he's got Snapcaster, Red Elemental Blast.
Oh, wow.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. Because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping. And the vision that was planted in my brain still remains.
What a game. What a great game.
Misdirection target you with your Chain Lightning is pretty exciting. I was excited about it. I'm like, please do a burn spell. It's my only way to win. But, yep, as you can see, it lined up. And can you see how I was punished by the click? Because he'd be 1 less card down, right? So
Yeah,
by putting away the Grim Lavamancer, I sealed my fate by him drawing the Snapcaster Mage.
Wow, what an amazing game.
I know,
Down to
it
the
was
wire.
so tight. But it was one of those results-based thinking, right? Yeah, exactly what happened to get drawn off the click is irrelevant, but it was probably the right decision at the time. And incredibly tight game. So we ended up all kind of, scrumming it out in the top there. But our very own Beckett Wolfe ended up winning his match just to the left of us here. And that took him to first place.
Yeah, nice 6-0 sweep. I didn't play perfectly, but I don't think you can ever play a full tournament perfectly, and I played pretty tight. And, the Nemesis deck, Grixis Control, Kespile, is still a force
It's
to be
still
reckoned
number
with,
one, right?
isn't it?
Yeah, every time we build something, it's really hard to beat the Kingpin.
Yeah, if
the
you're
best
testing,
controller.
guys, I'd say, even if you don't want to play it, proxy up Kespile and give it a crack as a good gauntlet to practice your homebrews against.
That's it. Homebrews like Annihilator 6 and Gruul Moon and Hootie and the Bugfish was also... Hootie and the Bugfish came third.
There you go.
It's good. Yeah, it's good to see these decks performing. So thank you very much for watching, everyone. We will catch you at the next Adelaide Eternal Challenge.
See you guys.